How many of you have seen this video?
Abuja, Abuja, Abuja.
A lot of people don't even know what is one chance, and today I'm going to be interviewing a lady that was kidnapped 3 times in a taxi here in Abuja. This is the Lucky Udu Experience.
One was trying to hold my hand, the other person trying to hold my bag, the other person trying to hold me from the front. I was trying to open the car. He now brought out his gun. The guy at the front seat jumped on me and started hitting me to go down. He was hitting me to go down, held my 2 hands at the back, sat on me. I was still trying to see how I could escape before he now brought a teaser and shocked me with it.
You said you were kidnapped 3 times in a taxi in Abuja. Can you tell the viewers your story?
Okay, so I entered one chance 3 times in Abuja, and this started from 2018. That was my first experience. I was still a student. I was doing my IT, but at the same time I was working. So from my IT place, I was supposed to go to work, and then I was coming from Duse, and then I entered this cab because, most times you usually get in trouble when you're like very tensed and in a hurry. So because I was in a hurry to get to my workplace, I entered the cab. He said there was a driver, a man at the front seat, a young guy, and a pregnant woman. So when I entered, somebody also entered with me at the back, so we were 4. So, but along as we were going, the 4th person came down, and so when he came down, he took something from the boot. So that was when the driver now noticed something on the boot, or I don't know how they've planned it. Then he came back to the car, and then he was driving slowly, and then he was like, that there's something in the boot. He noticed that we have to confess. He saw $2 Ghana must go of dollars in the car, and that if we don't talk, he's going to drive us to the nearest police station. So while all of us were looking at each other, the young guy started crying. He was like, and then he faced me and he was like, "Auntie, please help me talk to this driver." Then he started confessing. He started saying,
Was he really crying?
Yes, he was crying real tears.
Wow.
Real tears, a young man. And then he was saying that, he served his boss in Togo or so, and then the boss was cheating him. So when he was leaving now, after finishing the apprenticeship, he had to steal this bag of Ghana must go, this bag of money. And then, but he promised that if we don't report him and all that, he's going to share the money with us and all that. So, while he was saying this thing, the driver was still going. Me, I was just like quiet because I was confused. That was the first time. In fact, I had not even heard a story like that. That was 2018. I was still a young girl. I was so confused. I was just listening. And the guy was like trying to beg me and say, "Auntie, please help me talk to this driver, And then the driver now said, "Okay, fine." But then I saw charm in the bag. So the guy said, "Yes, there's charm in it, so we have to remove it before we share the money." And then I was just quiet listening to them, and they were driving. So then they were talking about how they will remove the charm, if they should take it to an agwe, they should take it somewhere. And then the pregnant woman that was sitting close to me now said, "Oh, driver, there's a prophetess that removed live lizard from my husband's leg when he was not feeling fine. I will take you to the prophetess. She's good to remove the charm and all that." So while I was like listening, because at that time I was in school, remember I was doing my IT, and I was doing my IT here in Abuja, and there in the east where I was schooling, like I had landlord issues, so I was in my head, I'm like, what's happening? And then, but then what was like an open eye for me was when this woman was describing this prophetess, I noticed the driver already started taking an untiled road. So that was the moment where I was like, "Oga driver, wait, why are you following this road? This woman is just talking about what she's saying, right? And you're already taking this road. I don't know this road." Then the driver now said, "Oh, auntie, calm down. We know the prophetess. She's a popular person." And I'm like, no, please, you have to drop me. So that was when I started struggling with them. And then at that moment, I noticed that the guy that was like crying real tears, he was no longer crying. He was now like very bold, and I just knew that, but it was easy for them not to really struggle with me because the woman was pregnant, so why trying to struggle with them?
Struggle with you how, as in?
Like, one was trying to hold my hand, the other person trying to hold my bag, the other person trying to hold me from the front, just trying to keep me.
You were trying to step out of the car?
I was trying to open the car.
Okay.
So they were trying to draw me back.
Also, okay.
Yeah, so that was when the car opened and then I fell down. And this was on that untiled road. So that was how I came out from that. And then somebody picked me on the way and was like, and funny enough, anytime I remember this story, I always remember that the person that actually picked me from that untiled road and brought me to the normal road, I didn't explain anything to him. And he actually said, oh, you're lucky you did not allow them to really take you that far, So that was the first time I entered One Chance.
You're very lucky.
Yes.
So can you tell us about your second experience?
Yeah, so the second experience, I was actually working. I was working, and then I was post that period. We had another program at that same Duce. So, and of course, when they asked me my job place, I said yes, I could go there. So, and that was just for like a month. So now I think it was my second day, because I would go to Duce and come back. But there's one of my colleagues that she was also posted at Gwarimpa. So the first day when I went to work with her, when we're done, that was like, because we're supposed to be done like, I think 9 p.m. But because of the distance, they allowed us to close by 8. So as at 8, the first day, I would call, maybe when I'm already on my way, when I get to, I already pay for 2 seats so that when I get to Gwarimpa Junction from Duce, I can pick her up. So that happened the first day. The second day now where this incident happened, as usual, I closed, got to Duce Junction, and then because that day was on a Saturday, it was very, very dry. Like there were few people on the streets. So then I saw one guy standing, and since it was late and dry that particular Saturday, as a young girl, I decided to like go close to this guy, to stand with him, greeted him and stood close to him. So then this driver, and this was a proper car, right, with somebody at the front seat. But then what I didn't notice was that it was tinted, because the whole glasses were like wind down properly, the whole glasses, so you wouldn't even know if it was white glass or so. So then I entered when the car came by, the guy actually went to the car first and asked the car, are you going to AYA? The car said yes. So the guy was about entering. That was when me and now asked, will you get to Nyanya? Because I was going to Nyanya. Driver said no, but he will get to AYA. So I'm like, okay, why not? So when I was about entering the car to just with that guy, the guy started coming out. And then I was asking this guy, bros, they go again. He didn't say anything to me. And because before that particular car came, I stood there for over 30 minutes. There was no car stopping by. So in my head, I'm already going, because my friend too, my colleague too at that Gwarimpa Junction, she was already there waiting too, So I was like, okay, fine, let me just go. So while we're going, I now called her as usual, and I was like, I'll tell the driver to also pick you up, So it was when I was having that conversation with her on the phone, that was when I noticed that everywhere was slightly becoming dark. So apparently they had wind up properly. They had turned off all the lights. Even the light they were using to like move, they had turned everything off. So, but then, I was still a bit distracted. It was when I was about dropping the call, when the guy at the front seat now, adjusted his seat and like jumped on me and started hitting me to go down the car. So, and the phone was still on. So my friend already got the hint that, this was what was happening. So, but then he collected my phone, he turned it, he, hanged up the phone. Then he was hitting me to go down, held my 2 hands at the back, sat on me, like, when you're trying to hold somebody down. And then they asked me, okay, no, we're just actually driving, and they didn't say anything to me. So at that moment, for like 20 minutes, they didn't actually say anything to me. So at that moment, I was like, what is happening? I was like trying to pray, but because I didn't really know what was happening. You can, because I was expecting them to actually say money, but they didn't say anything. So you'd be thinking, are they ritualists? I was just trying to pray in my mind and stuff. So that was when after like 20 minutes, they made call, and then they made call and they were like, oh, the phone, I think I was hearing the person the other side of the phone saying, oh, bring her to join the boy at Lube. So after that, I think they were having an argument with the person. Then they hung the call. Then they now asked me, how much can I give them, that if they take me somewhere, will I be able to look for people that will give them 2 million each? I'm like, yes. I was just, because at that moment you just answer whatsoever they ask you, to be safe. So I was just saying yes and all that. So they got my phone, my SIM card, my ATM card, and then when they got my ATM card, they kept on asking me for my PIN. And because I was down, my head was like under the driver's seat, I was like shouting on top of my voice, and they were speeding too, so they were not hearing me. Even the guy that was like close to me, he wasn't hearing me. I was shouting and like telling them my PIN, but they were not hearing me. So the driver was like, he should use knife on me, to make me. And I was, shouting and all that. So before the guy now heard, they now said, okay, fine, that if they discover that the PIN is wrong, that they would actually do something to me. I was telling them it's correct. I think I actually made a mistake and even told them, oh, if they think it's wrong, that they can do transfer. And then they were like, oh, you want to catch us through transfer? And then the guy started hitting me back. But luckily for me, I was wearing a jean jacket actually. So I didn't really get bruises on my body, just from my waist down to my leg. So, so then they stopped for a while. It was like they stopped for a while. It was almost like they gave somebody, because I heard a third person, they gave somebody my ATM. And then they continued driving. It was later the person now called, and because they were just driving, and in my head I felt like maybe we had even gone past Abuja. Maybe we were like drive out of Abuja. So before they now, I think the person told them it was a correct PIN. So I think that was the moment they started withdrawing my money and funny enough, because the money I had, that ATM card, I actually don't walk around with it. But because I was going to a far place, I felt like just in case I took it. And that was how they took that card and withdraw my money. And then after a while, like I was with them for like 1 hour, 30 minutes. They were just driving round before they now told me, oh, that I didn't give them the wrong PIN, that I'm lucky, that I shouldn't worry, they will drop me, okay? Because my eyes were still closed. They told me my eyes were still closed. And then he brought me out from the place where my head was, and then they just opened the car and pushed me out of the moving vehicle. Yeah.
Wow, that's really sad.
Yeah.
So what did they take from you?
Well, they took my money.
How much?
That was because I think it was that particular bank. You can't withdraw more than 100,000 naira a day.
So they took 100 naira.
They took 100,000 naira. They took my phone, and then the money I had in my purse. Yeah, the money I had in my purse. Even a drink that I had in my bag, they took it. So
wow.
Yeah.
This is crazy. So what about the third experience?
Oh, the third one was, I feel like the third one was just God's mercy on me, because the third one wanted to happen based on my stubbornness. Actually, I was working in a place that they were owing us. They were owing us for like 3 months, and I was like the head of the department I was, and everybody I was heading at that moment had already resigned, and the work was too much on me because they even started owing me before those people came, so I was supposed to have stopped working there for a long time, but because somehow I'm a kind of person that I don't like staying at home and feeling like, oh, this day is passing by and I'm not going out to work. So I had already made up my mind that I would resign. In fact, I already made up my mind. I already told everybody. But then that day, I went for a gig, and then normally after that gig, I'm supposed to just go to my house. But I was like, because I was with my uniform of my workplace that they were owing us, so I was like, why don't I just go to work instead of just going home to sleep, And most of my friends and colleagues already knew that I'd already resigned from that place. So now, this was at Banex Junction. I got to Banex Junction because it's just Banex to my workplace. So I was standing there, still trying to decide, should I go home? or should I go to my workplace? Should I go home? Should I go to my workplace? And then I was making call and I was talking to one of my friend. She had resigned a week before I did, before that stuff. So she was telling me, Patience, they hear, like, everybody resigned. Why are you still going back to work? And I'm like, I don't want to go home and just go and sleep. I need to work. So while I was having that conversation with her, that was when the car came. And because usually from Banex going to that my workplace, you wouldn't see normal along, right? You have to take drop. So the car came like normal drop, right? So, and this is what I've been doing.
So just the driver in the car.
It was just the driver in the car. And this is what actually happens, right? Like, you take drop from that place to my workplace. I've worked there for like 2 years, or I was working there for like 2 years. So, but I didn't experience this until that day that I was not supposed to go to work. So I stood there while having a conversation with her, and the car came by, the driver came. And then I was still talking when he stopped. So I didn't actually stop him. Then he was like, I just removed the phone from my ear in a way, and I asked him, are you going here? How much? He was like, enter. And I was so distracted because of that call. So it was when I entered, then I now ended the call, and I was still asking him, how much is it? Talk, because so he doesn't increase the price and stuff. So then he told me the normal price, and I was like, okay. And then when we were going, he was telling me, oh, auntie, that the way I was talking on phone, and am I quarreling with somebody? I said no. And luckily for me, it was almost like, because that day I was frustrated in a way, because I was not supposed to go to work. But the way I was now going to work, and knowing that this is what I'm facing in my workplace, I'm supposed to have resigned, So I was just, surprisingly, I started telling him immediately that, oh no, I'm not quarreling with somebody. It's just that sometimes, I was just telling him that you'll be working, some people will not pay you. I was just explaining.
Just ranting.
Just ranting, surprisingly, to him. That was a stranger. And then he was like, oh, girls like you, do you need to work? And I'm like, of course. He was like, oh, don't you have people that will give you money? I said, it's not everybody that, And then he was like, oh, what of your parents? I said, hello, I'm the first child. I was just somehow telling him stuff, that no, it's not like that. I have to work. I literally give people money. I give my siblings money, so I don't really have that, the way he was thinking. So I was just trying to let him know that what you think is wrong. And so when he was saying all those things, he now started turning to a different route. And I'm like, wait, what's happening? He said, oh, auntie, I'm very sorry that because there's a route that you can take. Instead of, as you're going straight to my workplace, you can take a different turn, but not to my workplace, to a different street. So it was like, oh, he just wants to get food that he has not eaten. He just wants to get food, that please, let me just be patient. He'll just get the food and immediately take me to. So I'm like, no, why don't you drop me? Then you can go and get your food. But now, this conversation, he had already taken that turn. And I'm like, Oga, getting pissed and all that, but I don't want to, let me know. So I was still talking to him, no, you have to drop me. He was like, so I'm sorry, please, I already, he was still driving. And so, since this guy was not stopping, I started being aggressive. Like, I was now getting, my voice was now loud. I was like, you have to drop me, and I was trying to see how I could open the door. But then the door was already, you can't open.
Already locked.
No, not like it was even locked.
You can't open it from inside.
Yes,
okay.
It was spoiled. It's just wires.
Mm-hmm.
You can't open it from inside. So now, this thing I'm already telling you, the guy had already taken, he was now driving fast, like he had already taken the other turn. Now he was already heading to under bridge. I think that was Mabushi under bridge. He was already heading to the bridge. Now, so while I was trying to look for a way to come out and all that, since he wasn't listening to me, that was when he now brought out his gun. No, sorry. Before he did that, he actually said, before he actually brought out that gun, he actually brought his phone first. I was like, okay, auntie, since you dey para, let me send you money. Or let me buy food for you. I said, I don't want your food. And he was like, okay, let me send you money. He already opened his bank app. Let me send you money. At least you just calm down. So that I'm like, what do I need your money for? Guy, just drop me. So that was when, since I was still talking, he now brought out his gun. I was like, see, you don't prove stubborn too much. You have to calm down and all that. Anything I tell you, you listen. Or like, okay, that's fine. So I relaxed in a way while trying to think, what next do I do? So he was now slowing down when he got under the bridge. And then when he was slowing down, that was when he now brought out the gun again. And he was telling me that, that he wants to take me to his house, that he doesn't want too much. He wants to take me to his house, that whatsoever I see there, I should take. Then, okay, no, that was just what he said. And it was like, anything I tell you when we get there, anybody you see, just be quiet. I was like, okay. But then he now asked me, because initially I was with my phone. So because I was wearing a jacket too. So when I was trying to touch my body to try to reach out to my phone, he now asked me, where's your phone? So I brought out my phone. He asked me to open it. I opened it. As at this time now, he had already parked under the bridge. And there were actually people
passing.
Yes, there were people.
But nobody could see because it was tinted.
Yes, because nobody could see. No, that particular car was not even tinted. That's the funniest part. That particular car was not tinted. But nobody came. And I can't shout. Nobody will hear me from outside. And I don't also want to push him to actually do something, right? Because I actually saw, there was a time I actually tried to, because while he took my phone and was trying to go through stuff in my phone, I was still trying to see how I could escape before he now brought a teaser and shocked me with it. So I now relaxed. After I got myself, I relaxed. I knew that, this guy had weapons, right? So then he now told me, he took my phone, he took my bag, and then he was like, I should kneel down, and then face the back and put my hands behind my back. So he was just driving. And when he was driving, I was literally just seeing trees at the end of the day. I was not seeing lights. I was just seeing trees. And then in my head, I'm like, I can't just keep quiet. What is my fate? Like, and then I started talking. I prayed in my mind and I started talking. So when I started talking...
What do you mean talking? What were you saying?
At first I asked him, I said, can I talk to you? Mm-hmm. He said, yes, talk to me, I'm listening. And then I started saying certain things. I was like, somehow I don't know, because it's
what were you saying now?
I was trying to let him know that, hey, you took the wrong person. You might be out to do certain things, but I'm the wrong person. That was what I was trying to let him know. I was just talking. I don't know what, because at first I was scared. I was really, really scared. You remember I'd been shocked with that teaser. But then when I started talking, I was no longer scared. I was saying certain things and I would laugh. I would talk, I would laugh. So I felt very light in a way. And then some things I would say, he would laugh. It was almost like I was now gisting. Like one would think, are you gisting with somebody that is literally just kidnapped you? Do you get? So, but then I was talking for a while. I was talking to the point that I even told him about my last experience, because that was the third time. I told him about the second experience I had where they took my money and stuff. I was telling him, he was even asking me, did I struggle with them? I said, no, I didn't struggle with them. I was even telling him that, see, you do not even hit me. Those ones hit me,
And I'm telling
you, that's how light and how I felt. And all this while I was still kneeling down, facing the other side. Like I was not even seeing him.
The two of you are just
I was just talking.
What were you putting on?
I was wearing a jacket, a trouser, and a shirt under the jacket.
Okay.
So
nobody could see you, that you were, only children really.
All those while we were still driving. He was still driving. The only thing I could see from the back where I faced was trees. So, but then, while I was still talking, and now I remember telling him that, when he's done, that he should just keep me where my parents would see me. I think I said that, and then I laughed. He now laughed.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
When you are kneeling and facing the back glass, right? Mm-hmm. The cars that are behind him are supposed to notice you.
They would pass.
Nobody even noticed you.
Nobody noticed.
If I'm driving, I usually see.
Nobody
I even
noticed.
see the person driving through his side mirror. Talk more of the back one.
Nobody stopped.
Wow.
And nobody stopped.
Okay, continue.
Yes. So when I now said that when you're done, you can even open your door and throw me out. let me roll on the floor like the way the other persons did. So when I said that, I laughed. And then he laughed and told me who told me that he would do the same thing. It was just at the end of the day. So after saying all that, he was not like, he just suddenly, because I started seeing, it was almost like he now came up a bridge. I started seeing lights back. I started seeing buildings back. Then he now stopped and then told me to sit up. I sat up. He was like, fine girl, take your phone. I collected my phone. Take your bag. I was like, open the door he wind down. I was like, open the door from outside. I was still trying to open the door. He was like, calm down now. Then he now stretched his hand, opened the door from outside, and then told me I can calm down. So that was how he gave me my stuff and I came down. That was it.
Did you tell him bye-bye?
I told him thank you.
Because you guys
I told him he actually stopped me close to a checkpoint. It was at that next cash and carry street. There was police checkpoints. He stopped me close to where the policemen would see me, where I could just walk up to them.
What time was it?
This was already 12
p.m.
Yes, 2 p.m. This was like already 12 p.m. or let's say 11 because let's say 11. And I think I met him like after 9. Yeah. So that was this was let's just say 11.
From you?
He took back, he gave me back. And then he watched me because I didn't even mention. When he stopped at first, before he even gave me back my phone, he gave me money. He gave me bundles of 500. Not like bundles per se, because bundle is like 50,000, right? This is like 4 bundles together, twice, like 2 heap of bundles. I was like, take. I said, I don't need your money. He said, you don't need my money. No problem now. You don't did reject my money since. Then
he dashed you.
Yes, but I told him I didn't touch your money. He said, fine. He now gave me back my phone. He was now smiling. This was somebody that he was now smiling. Gave me back my stuff. He even asked me, do you know this place? I said, yes, I know. Like, okay, just continue working like this. And then he did not even zoom off. He took his time to be watching me. And I kept looking at him. He was smiling and then he left. And in my mind, I'm like, what just happened? No, it's not about love. It's just the Holy Spirit. I just feel like God just did not want me to be in such situation. You get? Yeah.
Did you give testimony in church?
I always give testimony. The 3 times this stuff has happened to me, I would go back and give testimony. Even this last one, the third one, this guy experienced. When I went to church, they were like, hey, patience, because they've heard something like that twice already before time. So I just felt like it was my stubbornness, and I did not go back to that job after that time. And funny enough, they did not even ask. Even when I kept telling them, my bosses, when they were like, you didn't come to work, I told them, see you. Nobody even believed, because nobody would believe that you went through something like that and they gave you back your phone, they didn't touch you, they gave you back your bag, everything intact. Nobody actually believed me.
Wow, this is unbelievable, because it's not something that we hear every day. So this is unbelievable. And thank God for your life. So since having to experience something like this 3 times, don't you feel scared to trust public transport?
Yes.
This is not even just matter of public transport, because the last experience, it was just her and a driver. So this is something that can literally happen anywhere. The idea of a stranger picking you up and taking you to your destination, is now something that should make so many of you worried, because you don't know that person and you don't know the intention of that person. So before now, we used to think that this one chance of a thing is with public transport. It's with 3 guys who have to be in the car, for these things to happen. But from my experience, you can clearly see now that just a driver is enough to kidnap someone.
Yes. That's what it is, actually. It can happen at any time. That's why sometimes, but there are some people that you tell them, they're like, oh, don't do this. It's just God's protection, because you can never be too careful. Because even I have a friend that it was through boats, it actually happened to her. So it's just...
She booked a boat ride?
Yes.
And the boat driver kidnapped her?
Yes. Until now, they are still going around it. So I just feel like it can happen to anybody It's just when you go out every day, before you go out, you just pray for God to protect you. Because
Oh God, I've seen that you are very hardworking. You work for everything you own, and He sees everything. So thank God for His protection over your life. So, what's your advice to young ladies in Abuja who depend on public transport to move around?
I still use public transport till now, right? And in Abuja, some people will be like, "Oh, use coastal buses." Coastal buses cannot be everywhere, right? Sometimes you still, and it's a lot, because just like I said, you can never be too careful. So I don't know. It's just that sometimes when I go out, just like I say, I always pray to God, because it might just be the time where you least expect. And sometimes you can be tense. You can be trying to go to somewhere, you are in a hurry. So one thing I've actually learned is that no matter where I'm going to, I always calm down. I don't allow tension take the better part of me. I always calm down and watch, no matter how late it is, because sometimes you go for an event, like the job I do, you go for an event, and if you don't have your personal car, you would definitely find your way home. It's not everywhere you can sleep. You have to find, even if it's your friend's house or something, you have to find your way. You understand? So, well, it's just God's protection and mercy at the end of the day.
Well, thank God for your life, and thank you for sharing your story. Hope someone out there has learned something new. It's very important that we engage with, conversations like this, because you get to learn from them, and you become self-aware of your environment. Before now, people think that because they book a boat that they can show less concern about security, they'll just be on their phone throughout. Some people might even sleep off while their boat ride is taking them to their destination. But insecurity has become so shocking that these days you can't even rely on boats to move around. So residents of Abuja, please, you guys need to be aware, okay, and take this very seriously. Patience, thank you so much for sharing your story. At this point, we have to end this interview. Thank you very much, viewers, for watching. The audio version is going to be uploaded on Spotify. Kindly indicate in the comment section if you learned something new or if you've had a similar experience. Let's say bye to the viewers.
Bye.
Bye. See you in the next episode.